everybody. Welcome to the KXAN Live Studios. I'm Billy Gates, and this is the high school football show here at KXAN Live. And we've got a full slate of games. We have tonight's KBVO Game of the Week between Georgetown and Cedar Park. That game's for a district title. And then a full slate of Friday games here to wrap up the regular season of high school football. Here to talk about it with me is KXAN Sports Director Roger Wallace. And Roger, let's start with tonight's game. You'll be out there along with Keith Moreland calling the action at Gutton Stadium starting at 7. Pretty simple. The winner is the 5A Division I District 8 champ.
Yeah, sometimes you just get lucky with the schedule, Billy, and we had a really good one last week with Weiss and College Station. But tonight, a district title outright on the line. So pretty fortunate to have this matchup. Georgetown, they are playing lights out. They took care of Belton last week in impressive fashion. They were in line to get a piece of the district title, but they ran roughshod over Lake Belton, rather. And then Cedar Park, more of a kind of a grinding through the district with just one loss as well. So this should be a fun one. Georgetown features an outstanding running back, Jet Walker, over 400 yards a couple of games ago. Cedar Park, Trey Hill is a really good back, but the names don't jump out as much. They have that Black Rain defense they like to say, but this should be nice.
Talk about Walker. He averaged something ridiculous last game, like 13 yards a carry or something like that. He had like 180 yards on like 13 touches. It was just bonkers.
Yeah, he's special. He's big and he's got that breakaway, and he's a young man that grew up in the Georgetown district, and then his family moved to Lampasas, and he played there, and then they moved back, and so now playing for Georgetown. So fortunate to have him. But this should be fun, and what a great way to close out the regular season, not only on KBVO, but just to have one of many matchups in Central Texas with the gold ball on the line.
Yeah, and now the loser of this game, things get a little wacky because there could be potentially a three-way tie for second place, which, I mean, wouldn't affect who gets in the playoffs.
Right.
It would just affect the seeding.
Yeah, Rouse is sitting there at 4-2. They play Glenn, a team that only has one district win. So Rouse could be at 5-2 as well. Lake Belton plays tonight. You figure they're going to take care of Chaparral out of Killeen. They're winless in district play, so they should go to 5-2. So, yeah, you could have a three-way tie for second at 5-2. I believe Georgetown is locked into number 2 regardless. Speaking with their head coach, Chuck Griffin, this week, obviously if they win. So, yeah, you're talking about seeding. You're talking about matchups. They match up against a district that's, out of the area that includes Highland Park, Midlothian, Red Oak, and Tyler High School. So you're talking about a district that's 3-4 hours away from here. So, yeah. And the thing is, Billy, you get the Thursday game for these schools tonight, so they can choose to either go out and scout or at least send some of their assistants out and scout. So they'll, kind of have that leg up.
And, you talk about the district they match up with. I mean, obviously any district with Highland Park in it is going to be be a tough one for that number 4 team to have to go up there and really, take on the Fighting Scotty Schefflers, if you were.
And they play Midlothian for the outright district title because they're both 5-0. So this is a fun weekend because tonight and tomorrow it's all about the games, and then late tomorrow you'll start on social media seeing those matchups being set. A lot of them honestly have already been set, and because it's funny, these coaches, it's such a race to get stadiums, especially if it's not home and home, that they set up, okay, if it's this, we're going to play this matchup. If it's that, we're going to play that matchup. 6A's cut and dry. The higher seeded team hosts. 5A, you're going to see a lot of teams host, but it's not necessarily cut and dry.
Yeah. So we'll be looking forward to that. Now, speaking of Friday, a couple games here in the area we're keeping an eye on. Westlake and Dripping Springs capped the regular season. Should be a fun one. Westlake wins. They wrap up the district championship. That's always a fun game between now that Dripping Springs is up at 6A. They've been there for the past couple of years, and they've been as competitive as anybody.
Yeah, and Westlake trying to win it outright and have that one loss going into the postseason. That one on KXAN.com on Friday night at 7:30. And then there's a lot of other games, and it's interesting because there's two things at play here. District championships are on the line, But some games, it's about win. It's basically a playoff game, and we look at
Right.
26-6A and McNeil and their matchup tomorrow
Right.
with Hutto. It's a win and then the dominoes will affect schools in both districts where they go in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, and let's see, Austin with their win over Bowie last week. They're into the playoffs at number 4. They take on Lake Travis tonight. So regardless of what Lake Travis does to the Maroons tonight, the Maroons are in, and that's pretty great for a program that hasn't been here in a while.
No, they and when they've made the playoffs most recently, it's been as a 5A school.
Right.
Of course, it's a well-told story, and they hate hearing about it. They haven't won a playoff game since the 50s.
It's been a while,
But what a great job by Bernard Riley and that Austin High. They've got a really electric player in Bryson Batts, and I think he was one of the big differences in their win.
It's just good he's healthy.
Yeah,
because that's been his thing. Like, he hasn't been able to stay on the field.
Yeah, he's electric, and in their win over Bowie, he was a big difference in that one. So that should be fun. Outright district title on the line, or rather a share for Round Rock. Vandergrift outright district title on the line if they can beat Round Rock tomorrow night at Monroe Stadium. It always seems to come down to that matchup. Doesn't affect the playoff seedings. And again, Vandergrift a share of the district title with no losses. Round Rock lost one to Cedar Ridge, so that'll be a fun one for a piece of hardware.
Yeah, we were talking off air a little bit earlier about some other games around that are going to have some implications. I mean, from your standpoint, I mean, what are some of those games that we're keeping an eye on?
Well, Bastrop and Liberty Hill in Bastrop. That's for a district championship, so that should be fun. Bastrop with a lot of talent. They've got the young quarterback Weston Nielsen, just the sophomore, and we know the job that Kent Walker does out at Liberty Hill with that slot T offense. They're not quite as maybe as invincible as they've been, but they're so hard to play against because of the style. That should be a fun one. Conley High School, and what a job Charles Burton has done there with the Cougars. They're in a matchup with Pflugerville. So not only is it a district matchup, but it's a in-district matchup in Pflugerville ISD. That's for a playoff spot tomorrow at the field. So just a lot of fun matchups because of what's on the line on this 11th weekend of the regular season. Hopefully the weather will hold off. We see over your shoulder right now some kind of dark clouds out to the
moving
west.
in a little bit.
Yeah, and then hopefully tomorrow night weather won't be a factor because they got to get these games in. And if you're talking about, you start getting lightning delays and things like that, they'll have to come back and they'll have to play as long as they have playoff implications. They'll have to come back and play and finish on Saturday.
So Friday night, a game on KXN.com, Westlake versus Dripping Springs. If the Shaps win, then they are the District 25 champs. 26. 25 is
the Northern District.
Oh, man.
That's what I call it, the Northern District.
So many. So if they win that one, then they're the champs there. That'll be on KXN.com Friday. Tonight's game, Georgetown and Cedar Park. That is for the 5A Division I district. I think the number is 8 or something like that. Yeah, I got that one.
And if you're wondering about who you match up with, you take the lower odd number district and it goes up. So for instance, they're 8 5A, so they match up with 7 5A.
Sure. Okay.
Because you start wondering about who you're going to play, and if it's a district not in the area. The 6A, it's easy. It's the Austin area and the Round Rock kind of Williamson County area district. Matching up against each other.
All right. Well, we got all the action here on our airwaves, KBVO, KXN.com. We'll have highlights from the games we can get out to tonight and tomorrow. And so we'll leave this episode of the High School Football Show here for now. For Roger Wallace, I'm Billy Gates. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you again very soon.